Today we're going to take a look at 5 really good cheap RC cars you can currently buy in 2022. It has been a while since we did a list like this. We are pretty much halfway through the year now, which is why I thought it'd be a really good idea to quickly put this video together. If you're just starting out in the RC hobby or you're considering getting into the hobby, this is the perfect video for you, so keep watching because you really don't have to spend a huge amount of money to have fun in RC. Any experienced enthusiasts out there who love their Traxxas and their Armour vehicles, feel free to click away now because this video doesn't include any of those. This video is aimed at people who are looking to get into the hobby and don't necessarily want to spend a huge amount of money. And that is absolutely fine because you really don't have to spend hundreds or thousands to enjoy the RC hobby. So at number 5 we've got the MJX Hyper Go. Now I absolutely love these little trucks. Everything you need to get you up and running is included in the box. Now you get a smart battery in the box, but it's not great, so I would recommend having a look at some alternative LiPo batteries which will work on the truck perfectly now that they have updated the ESC. On-road performance is perfectly acceptable. You will get between 22 to 24 miles per hour, which is absolutely fine considering this is a beginner truck. Now you can upgrade later on if you want, potentially to a brushless system, but if you're just starting out, this truck is going to be perfect out the box. Off-road performance is also really good. Thanks to those oil-filled shocks, you're going to be able to jump this thing, you're going to be able to abuse it at skate parks, and it will definitely hold up. Now I'm going to leave links to all the cars featured in this video in the description below because prices are constantly changing. I will be sticking rough prices on the screen, but please expect these to change. Taking a look at number 4, it has to be the Hyboxing 16889 or the Bezgar FTX equivalent. Now essentially all these trucks are just rebranded. They're such a good chassis that loads of companies out there have seen it and have said, look, this thing is selling like crazy, we need to stick our brand name on it and we need to get this thing selling, and that's exactly what they've done. It doesn't matter which brand you decide to go for, it is exactly the same chassis and it's a good one. Again, everything you need to get you up and running is included in the box. Now some of these come pre-fitted with oil-filled shocks, some of them don't, so be sure to check the full spec out on whichever website it is that you're looking to purchase one of these from. The 16889, that's one of the first cars I reviewed on my channel, and ever since I started out back in 2020, I've really struggled not to include this truck on the list because it is ideal for beginners. Again, on-road performance isn't too bad. You're going to see close to 20 miles per hour, which isn't a huge amount of speed, but it's more than enough to get you up and running. Off-road is where these trucks really shine. They're light, you can throw them around, they're durable, and I think that they really are one of the most durable RC trucks I have ever come across. I've taken this thing to skate parks and it's held up every single time. I recently tested the Bezgar version on my channel, and again, just like the Hyboxing version, pretty much exactly the same, the only difference being the body shell. Really good performance off-road. I really like these little trucks. Again, I will leave links in the description below if you want to check out the full review video and you want to check out these trucks in a little bit more detail. Moving on to number 3 then, again another recent addition. This is the UDIRC Porsche 911 or Porsche, depending on how you pronounce it. Now this has to be one of the best looking RC cars I have tested out all year. I absolutely fell in love with this thing as soon as I got it out of the box. I just love that body shell. I think the red looks really good. We've got a nice big wing on the back. Styling wise, this thing is on point. If you haven't seen any of my top 5 or top 10 videos, this is essentially just an SG1603 under that body shell. Now Pinecone models, EACHINE, UDIRC, they've all adopted exactly the same chassis, and what they're doing is releasing loads of different body shells. Because these chassis are quite good and because they're very popular, people are buying these cars. Now this is really good news because what this means is there's a huge variety of different body shells out there depending on your personal taste. Personally, I really like the Lancia Delta inspired body, but that said, I think the Porsche just takes the top spot. Just like the other cars mentioned on this list, this does come ready to run straight out the box with everything you need to get you up and running, and what's nice is they do include some drift tyres as well, so that you can get out there and enjoy some drifting action. I didn't take the Porsche out drifting because essentially it's exactly the same chassis, and I've already done videos like this time and time again. Now performance wise, I actually think the stock tyres are the best bet, but some people really love the included drift tyres. Now there is two variants of this chassis. You've got the brushed version and the brushless version. Is it really worth considering that brushless upgrade? Now if you're looking for outright speed, yes, I would say it is. You will be hitting 20 to 25 miles per hour. When you consider how small this little chassis is and how small these cars are, that is not a bad speed. Now that said, the brushed version also performs really well, and I actually think the brushed version performs a little bit better when it comes to drifting. It just feels like the combination of the brushed ESC and motor and the included gyro is a little bit better on the brushed version, but that's just me. Moving on, we have got the Hyboxin 901A. This thing is insane. I absolutely love it, and at the start of the year I actually said I think this is the best cheap RC car you can currently buy. As you would expect, that was a little bit of a controversial opinion. A lot of people wrote in the comments section, you are completely wrong. It has to be the WL Toys 124, 016 and 17, the brushless version 2 models. Now I didn't completely agree with that because the version 1 models were a complete disaster, and I just didn't want to support the version 2 models on my channel. I'm not going to go into too much detail about the WL Toys issues because I've already done videos on that, and I will leave links down below. Again, everything you need to get you up and running is included in the box. Now on-road performance, really good. I tested this thing out on 2S, and I also tested it out on 3S, and I know a lot of people out there said, can you use 3S on this long term? Well, I've been using this thing on and off for a few months now, and I haven't had any issues yet. Off-road performance is really good, those shocks feel really nice, and overall it just feels like a really solid little truck, and considering it's quite small, it's a very balanced all-rounder. An excellent little desert buggy, and I think it's still one of my favourite cheap RC cars you can buy this year. Moving on, this is the fifth and final vehicle we're going to be taking a look at today, and it has to be the WL Toys 144010. Now I actually said this little buggy was perfection. It even has perfection in the title of that video, and that is because it is absolutely epic. Now yes, WL Toys did upset me a little bit with their previous models. I wasn't a huge fan of those, and I chose not to support them on my channel, but I can tell you for a fact, this one I will be supporting all day long. I was a huge fan of the 144001, so naturally I was going to be a huge fan of this. Now there was a little bit of delay getting this thing released. I believe it was meant to be released last year. I think there was a shortage of components, which is why it wasn't released until 2022. Now we did have the EACHINE EAT14, I believe, which again was essentially just exactly the same chassis. It was just rebranded with a brushless system, but that thing did cog a little bit. It was usable, but there was some cogging issues, whereas with this you get no cogging issues, and if you can see beyond that slight delay issue, this thing is great. Everything you need is in the box, just like with the previous 4 models, so you'll be up and running in no time at all. I took this to my local BMX track, and I have to say, it performed great. I had so much fun with it, and it handled all the jumps perfectly. I cannot stress enough how good this little buggy really is. Now I think the real question here is, would I pick the 144010 over the Hyboxin 901A? Oh, well, do you know what? I've been a huge fan of the 901A throughout the year, but I think I would pick the WL Toys. And that is because straight out the box, I think it is probably going to be the slightly better all-rounder. It's also got more metal components, it's quicker, and I think if you're looking for an overall good all-round package, it could be the 144010. Now that said, the 901A is an excellent truck, and no matter whether you go for the WL Toys or the 901, you're going to have a great time, especially if you're just starting out in the hobby. So there we go then, that is 5 of my favourite cheap RC cars you can currently buy in 2022. Now it doesn't matter which one you go for, they're all really good, and it's quite hard putting these lists together because there's so many good options out there. It's really hard trying to narrow it down to 5 options. So there we go then, we're going to leave the video there today. I really hope you enjoyed seeing 5 of my favourite cheap RC cars you can currently buy in 2022. Now we are only halfway through the year. I will be doing an updated list towards the end of the year, so be on the lookout for that. New models are being released all the time, so it's vital that I do these lists because I know a lot of people do watch my top 10s and my top 5s when they go out there to make their first purchase, when they're just starting out in the hobby. So I really appreciate that, and I really appreciate that you take on board everything that I say on these videos. Cheers for watching today, and I'll see you again soon on the next one. Take care.
it.